Good morning. So, massive defaults in the US on credit cards, car loans, house loans, and other types of loans, leasing agreements are rising. The New York Federal Reserve is now very concerned that household debt is so high that it's going to lead to defaults. And when you lead to defaults, the bank is going to have to wipe off and write off that particular debt. In order for the bank to wipe off the debt, they need to have reserves and they need to have a ledger or balance book strong enough to absorb that particular loss. But the US regional banks and other banks in Europe and UK and Canada don't have the necessary reserves and strong balance sheet in order to write off those particular debts. So what's going to happen is they're going to have to be saved. How are they going to have to be saved? Well, in the US, the Federal Reserve, or the central bank of the US, the Federal Reserve, will end up printing more money. As they print more money, unofficially, quietly, under the radar, that money will be pumped into the regional banks in order to refloat them. Or what they'll do is they'll force some of the bigger banks to merge with the smaller banks. So there will be a contraction within the US banking sector. The problem is that we're talking about trillions of dollars. So the US Federal Reserve or the US Treasury will have to print a load of money in order to refloat the economy. What is the issue? The issue is that the Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve already stated they're going to reduce interest rates significantly in 2024, which they are. You will see rates drop in the US, in Canada, and in Europe and the UK over 2024. Now, the problem is that when they reduce interest rates, inflation will spurt up. In addition to that, with inflation rising up as a result of lowering interest rates, and not only that, printing money, then you're going to have back to the boom bust cycle where inflation will rise again. You'll have slower growth, so you've then got the threats of stagflation, which is no growth but rising inflation. So the Fed, as the leading central bank in the world on the global economies, is in a difficult position. It doesn't know what to do. It's totally lost. And that is the problem today. Reducing interest rates will lead to inflation. The banks are in trouble, the regional banks, because they've got too much bad debt which has to be sorted out, and that will lead to a banking crisis. A banking crisis will lead to lack of public confidence, and that will lead to a fall in financial markets. That's the overall chain of events, what's likely to happen in 2024. Will there be a complete and utter collapse? All depends on how far the Fed and the Biden administration is willing to go within their remit. Maybe not. In my opinion, there will be, but they could end up supporting the whole system to avoid that. Have a great day.